we're going to be looking at quotes of Federalist and Anti-Federalist. These will reappear on your test. So I'm going to go over through them and how to rationalize through what we're looking at. So it says the number of representatives called for in the Constitution of 1787 appears to be too few. So is this a positive commentary or is this a negative commentary? Negative, okay. So they don't feel that there's enough people to communicate the requested information of the wants, the local circumstance, and the sentiments of such extension of empire, or to prevent the corruption of undue influences and exigencies and great powers. Y'all said this was a criticism. Who would be criticizing the Constitution? This is an anti-federalist, okay? This next one, a federal government ought to be clothed with all the powers requisite to complete the execution of this trust. So is it asking for a big government or a small government? Big government, so who would be saying that? A federalist. We're going to see this country should never split into a number of unsocial, jealous, and alien sovereignties. That would be federalist or anti-federalist? Okay, federalist, because they don't want us to break up into all these little states, right? It says, if your American chief be a man of ambition and abilities, how easy it is for him to render himself absolute. Anti-federalist. This state should respectively have laws, courts, force, and revenues of their own sufficient for their own security. They ought to be fit to keep house alone if necessary. This is an anti-federalist because they're saying the state should have the power, right? It says, under the Confederation, the measures of the Union have not been executed. Okay? So are they happy with the Confederation? No, they're upset. So who would that person be that would be upset? Federalists. So the delinquencies of the state have step by step matured themselves into an extreme in which at length had arrested all the wills of the national government and brought them to an awful stand. So this is a criticism of the articles, right? So this would be a federalist. The new form of government declares a consolidated or union of all 13 parts or states into one great whole. So this is saying that we're coming all together, right? It says, it is an intuitive truth that a consolidated republican form of government will lead into a monarchy. Positive or negative? Negative. Who would this be? Anti-federalist. It says, we contended with Great Britain, some say, for a 3-penny duty on tea. But was that not what? But was it not that? It was because they claimed the right to tax us and bind us in all cases, whatever. And doesn't this not do the same? Doesn't it not take away all we have, all of our property? Doesn't it not lay taxes and duties and imports and excise? Positive or negative? Who would this be? Anti-federalist. Once a standing army is established in any country, the people lose their liberty.
Anti-federalist.
Anti-federalist. The government can never extend equal benefits to all the parts of the United States. Different laws, customs, and opinions exist in different states. So is this a positive or a negative? Negative, so who would this be? Right, so a uniform system of laws would be unreasonably invade. It says a Bill of Rights serves to secure the minority against the usurpation and the tyranny of the majority. This is an anti-federalist. They want that Bill of Rights, right? Okay, so I am against inserting a Declaration of Rights in the Constitution. If such an addition is not dangerous, it is least unnecessary. Federalist. Okay. I know you see this word state here. This word state sometimes means nation. Because you know the United States was created under the Articles of Confederation, right? So we call them all states, meaning that they're separate. They have their own nation within themselves. So whenever we think of states, we always think of like states in Texas, Alabama, all of that. But this also means nation, right? So don't automatically think state as in states' rights. Hey, it says, the moment the idea is admitted into society that property is not sacred as the laws of God, anarchy and tyranny will commence. So which group would be concerned about property and the tyranny that could lead to that being taken away? The Federalists. And he says, the rich therefore ought to have an effectual barrier against being robbed, plundered, and murdered. So again, is this a Federalist? Yes, because we know those rich people were concerned about that property that brought that convention together. He says, as well as the poor. It can never happen without an independent state. And we're like, this is an anti-federalist. But is this state like really like the states' rights? This is like a national government. So these people are arguing for a national government, right? That could protect their what? Property. And we know that that was one of the biggest issues with the conservatives. They wanted their property protected. The energy in the executive is a leading characteristic in the definition of good judgment. It would be like that. Executive is good. Let's have them.
Federalists.
The Federalists. The principal purpose to be answered by the Union are these: the common defense of the members, the preservation of public peace, as well against internal convulsions and external attacks, the regulation of commerce with other nations and between the states. So who would be coming around saying we need to defend each other, preserve peace, prevent attacks like Shays, external, the British, regulate commerce? What group would that be? This is a Federalist.